Hello everybody and welcome to this channel, and this is a brand new channel and it's my very first upload. So it's my vegan journey, and this first video, what I wanted to do is I wanted to speak to people who are contemplating the idea of becoming vegan, and I want you to hear from someone who has been a vegan for 2 months. That's all I've been a vegan for, is 2 months. I'm in my very, very early days. So what did I go through? What was it like in the first few hours, the first few days, the first few weeks? And how do I feel today after 2 months? Okay, so I'm going to take you through my 2-month journey, so it's not going to be too long. Okay, so basically, I started my vegan journey on I think it was the 1st of September 2021, and I found that it was difficult for 3 or 4 days. And one of the things that I really found difficult was not having milk in my coffee. I'm a great coffee lover, and every morning I take a coffee first thing, and I like multiple coffees throughout the day. And I don't like black coffee. I'd rather have no coffee than black coffee, which is ironic, seeing as it's the caffeine in the coffee that I'm probably addicted to. So, I always had to have that bit of colour in my coffee, and I had to have milk. And I tried previously because, I sort of, experimented with veganism. I tried, vegetarianism was easier for me because, giving up the meat isn't, for me personally, it wasn't particularly hard, but it was the dairy. The dairy for me was difficult, and in particular milk. Well, and cheese actually. Oh, and eggs. Oh yes, yeah. There's a lot of things that was difficult to let go of. Okay, so I needed that drop of milk in my coffee, right? And I tried soy milk, oat milk, almond milk. I tried them all, and I remember I used to buy these little cartons from the shop, and I'd only have a little bit, and then I'd have to throw it away, which was terrible because, the whole thing was wasted because I just didn't like it. To me, it tasted like cardboard, right? Well, anyway, so what had happened is the very first day I became vegan, I decided that even I would acclimatize, if that's the right word, acclimate. I would either acclimate to plant-based milk or else I would give up coffee. Why did I feel so strongly? It was because I think the final straw, I watched a series of documentaries which I recommend everyone to watch. I think they're essential watches because, we don't know, or we are not aware of how the food gets on our plates, right? So you got meat on your plate, you eat the meat, you eat the dairy, you drink the milk, you eat your eggs, and there's a disconnect, right? Because there is a journey that food has taken to get on your plate, and there was a life that died, and we don't think about that because you go to the shop and the food is packaged and it's on the shelf and it looks appealing and it looks clean and it looks like food, right? So that's all we see. We don't know the animals, right? And anyway, so you don't. The only way you're going to see what goes on in the abattoirs, is either by going to them. I would like to go. I want to see it with my own eyes, even as upsetting as it will be. I aspire to do that one day. But brave people have gone and done footage inside abattoirs, which I think is very important. You're not going to see it on the news. You're not going to see it any other way. It has to be like animal rights activists that go and film inside these places, and it's a huge eye-opener. And then you realise it becomes a real reality. It's a real reality check. It's like you know where your food is coming from, and all the shit that's all over the place that is what you're going to eat, right? And yes, it's cleaned, but it's like the suffering. Oh my goodness, it's just so upsetting. But Anyway, so that was the short. The reason I'm saying all of this, because this video is not about that. There'll be plenty of videos to come about that, but this video is not about that. But the point I'm trying to make is that the uh, I decided that I would drink plant-based milk, and I knew that I didn't like it. And I thought, well, it's either drink it or else give up the coffee. I was willing to do one or the other, whichever happened, right? Because once you make a decision in your mind, it's like Anthony Robbins says, in the moment of decision, your destiny is shaped, right? And decisions can be life changing, right? And so, anyway, what happened was I tried when I felt so strongly. I think it's mind over matter, because after I felt so strongly, more strongly than I've ever felt before, I took some oat milk in my coffee and I liked it. And I actually, to this day, 2 months later, I would honestly tell you that I prefer it to cow milk. I wouldn't, no matter what happens, I would not want to go back to cow's milk now. I mean, I wouldn't for obvious reasons, but all that aside, if I just make my decisions based on my taste buds, based on my taste preferences, I would not go back to cow's milk, because I actually really I think it's quite creamy and I think it's quite tasty. I like oat milk. I'm still not so keen on soy milk and almond milk. Not so sure about coconut milk. I actually had a coconut milk drink from Starbucks, and that was actually very nice, but I've never bought coconut milk for the house. But definitely oat milk is very, very tolerable, if stick with it, and it's actually really nice. I would go so far as to say it's not just tolerable, it's nice. I like it. And guess what? That was what was holding me back from being vegan. So the first day I went vegan, quote unquote, I failed, right? Because I at that stage I had to have a coffee with a drop of cow's milk in it, and that was the only animal product that I did in the whole day. That was the first day, and then the second day, that was it. I thought, I drank my coffee. I thought, oh, that's not so bad. I can finish my coffee, and then I had another one, and I had another one, and now, yeah, I'm acclimated to oat milk, right? Okay, so enough said about that. So that was my milk journey, if you like. Okay, so as for everything else, yeah, I was eating plant-based. There's so many plant-based alternatives. There's so much mock meat, which I don't plan to eat mock meat forevermore, because of course it's processed and it's not ideal, I'm sure. So I think every new vegan aspires to cut down on the mock meat and sort of eat more wholesome food going forward. But I definitely recommend experimenting and trying out the mock meats for as long as possible. Don't put yourself under any pressure whatsoever. In fact, even though I said I aspire to eat a lot less mock meats, I think I'll always occasionally have that Beyond Burger, right? Because, oh my goodness, you can't tell the difference. It tastes so much like beef. It's just really, really good. And why not? We need some indulgence once in a while. And there's no cruelty, no suffering. It's far better for the environment, right? It's good on so many levels, right? Oh, and by the way, I have to tell you, right, when it comes to eating out, it's not that hard. It depends where you are. Where I live, there's not a lot of vegan options, but they usually have something. You might not have a choice, but there's usually something, right? But I went to Birmingham, and in Birmingham, everywhere I went, there was like many, many options. And I ate like a king. I had so many good things to eat, and I was able to eat something different every day. Right? So yeah, it's brilliant. And let me see. The most profound experience I had was when I went to Burger King, and I went to Burger King, and my wife, she got the chicken royale, the real chicken royale, and I got the vegan chicken royale, and we sat at the table, and it was really interesting to see the two, because they didn't look any different whatsoever. They looked identical, right? Anyway, so I ate my chicken royale, and I thought, oh my goodness, I couldn't believe it. It tasted exactly like a chicken royale. And I tell you what, if you'd have given that to me and I didn't see the wrapper and I didn't know any different, I would swear I was eating a chicken royale. That's how authentic it was. I mean, God knows what crap is in it, kind of chemicals or whatever, flavor enhancers or whatever. I'm sure it's not good. But then, you know, uh, people that argue veganism would say, oh, what about the chemicals and that? Well, this is the way, whatever diet you're on, we're exposed to all of that, aren't we? And everything in moderation, right? So anyway, this was really good. And my wife took a bite and she even agreed, wow, that's really good. And it didn't taste much. She could, now, when I had the chicken royale burger, I'd already been a vegan for like almost 2 months. This is recent, right? And so I couldn't tell the difference. But because she does still eat meat, she could tell a subtle difference. So she was able to tell it was a plant-based burger, but it was like not a massive obvious thing. It was like, and she admitted it was good, which is a big thing because she doesn't really like anything much else plant-based, right? Uh, so anyway, so that's very encouraging. So when you start your vegan journey, right, if that's the way you're going to go, I want you to know, right, that as the more time passes, you pick up inspiration, right? When you first become vegan, you think, oh God, there's nothing I can eat. I'm going to be eating terribly. There's nothing for me to eat. Well, guess what? All this time that you were not vegan, you didn't notice all the vegan options out there, right? Because you weren't looking for them. Now you're looking for them. You will find them. Tesco is full of vegan stuff. Of course, there's not aisles and aisles of it yet because the world's not there yet, right? We don't have a whole entire aisle dedicated to vegan. I think that will happen in the future. It's all about supply and demand, isn't it? Right? But there are like nooks and crannies, and you find them easily when you're looking for them. Same in Lidl, the same in every supermarket I've gone to, and even the smaller shops have some vegan options. And another thing that you're going to find, right, is that things that are not advertised and promoted as vegan happen to be vegan. Let me give you an example. Bourbon biscuits. Who would have thought they were vegan? They are vegan, right? Pasta, right? Now, pasta, I always thought, oh, pasta's got egg in it. If you make pasta the right way, yes, it's got egg in it. But the pasta that you buy, the dried pasta, the dried packaged pasta in the supermarket, it does not have egg. It's vegan, but it's not promoted as vegan. It's not like in the vegan section, but it is vegan. And everything that's not in the vegan section, check it out, because if you read the packaging, you might spend a bit longer doing your shopping, but you may find that it's vegan. Like, here's another example: bread, right? I thought that when I first started my vegan journey, I thought that when I go and buy bread, I would have to go and get special vegan bread. No, you don't. You go to the normal bread aisle, right? And most of it is vegan, right? It doesn't have a massive big sticker on it saying vegan, right? But you read it and you realize it is vegan, right? And there usually is a very small icon that will validate that and say, yes, this is vegan friendly. Okay, so there's so much food. So very quickly, when you start your vegan journey, right, you're very quickly going to find that there is plenty to eat. There is plenty to eat. And then that kind of makes you mad, because then you ask yourself, and it's inspiring you even more, because you think, if there's so much to eat, then why are we eating animals? Why are animals getting killed against their will, right? Sentient beings that don't want to die, yeah? Unnecessarily, Why are we destroying the environment unnecessarily? And then I'll tell you another thing that makes you mad. So you see things that ought not to have animal products in them, and lo and behold, they've got an animal product in them, and you think, what? Why is that necessary? Why? Why is it necessary? Okay, so here's an example. What is it? Gluten. No, not gluten. What's it called now? Gelatin, right? So you look at sweets, or if you're American, candy, right? So they got like gelatin. It's the jelly. It makes them chewy, and that's an animal product, right? Yet jelly tots, which I buy, is vegan, and they are absolutely lovely. So obviously it's unnecessary to have gelatin in anything. Completely unnecessary. Like, there are amazing non-vegan advertised foods that taste every bit as good, that don't have the animal derivatives. And you're like, what the hell? Why are we killing animals when it's not even a necessary ingredient? Why? I don't know. But anyway, as you go about, when you start your vegan journey, you'll quickly realize there's plenty to eat. You'll quickly realize that animal products are not necessary. Okay, I need to move. I'm making this a longer video than I intended, but I am passionate on the subject, so please forgive me. Okay, now here's another thing, right? Health. How did I feel? Okay, now I'll tell you what. You feel a little bit odd. You feel a void, like an emotional, mental void. You feel like something's not right in your life. There's something missing in your life. Of course, you're going to feel like that. You've eaten meat your whole life. I felt that. And I'll tell you another thing. I woke up like 3-4 days in, right? And I woke up and I shit you not. I was lying in bed and I woke up in the morning and I opened my eyes and the ceiling was spinning. And I thought, what the hell's going on here? And I wasn't sick, but the ceiling was spinning. Well, I still don't know to this day why that happened that morning, right? But I had to be. I mean, I was 3, 4, 5 days into a completely new way of eating, and you know, I mean, obviously, it's your biochemistry is changing. Your your gut is changing. Everything is changing, like biochemically in you. I mean, it's gonna have an effect, right? So that happened, right? And then I was worried, and then I was like, oh, is veganism healthy? I'd watched documentaries that plant-based diets are like really healthy, and they're endorsed by so many doctors, renowned doctors, right? So I I was sure that the plant-based diet was healthy, and I started thinking, shit, what's going on? Am I malnourished? Well, guess what? What I did is I got supplements. I recommend supplements, yeah. So I got supplements that have all the essential minerals and nutrients and vitamins, just to kind of keep me right. And I tell you, you would ask, and I asked the question, if the plant-based diet's so good, then why do we need that? It's not natural. We should be able to eat naturally and be fine. Well, yeah, you can, but okay. So first of all, our food, because our soil is depleted, and through bad farming or whatever, spraying pesticides and all that, tilling the ground. So, our vegetables are not as nutrient rich as they once were, right? If you take broccoli back in like World War II time, it was a lot more nutrient rich than it is today, right? Vegetables are depleted of nutrients in this modern day because of the pollution and the things that we're doing. Okay, also, when you eat meat and dairy, you're getting a lot of like B12, and you're getting like nutrients. Okay, does that mean that we need to eat meat and dairy? No, it doesn't, because why are you getting meat? Why are you getting that meat and dairy? Is because it's fortified with that, right? So, the animal feed, the plants that we can eat, that is actually fed to the animals, it's giving them the nutrients they need. So the nutrients that we get from meat and dairy is placed there so that we can get that extra nourishment. They don't produce it. The animals don't produce it. Animals don't produce B12. B12 comes from dirt, right? And because they're indoors a lot, they're given B12, right? I mean, like, they would eat grass, but then, like I said, the soil isn't what it was. So, whether you eat meat or whether you're plant-based, we all have a risk of being low in B12, right? So, yeah, so why not supplement? Why not supplement? So when I started supplementing, and as time went on, I felt like $1 million. I'm in the best health of my life. I've never felt so healthy. I've never felt so good. And I've been losing weight. So Do I have any regrets? Absolutely not. But I will tell you that even if I didn't feel so good, I would still continue because of the ethical and environmental benefits to veganism. But from a health and a selfish perspective, I definitely feel amazing and way better. So it's the best decision of your life. And if you're going to try it, then do it, do it, do it. And what have you got to lose? Nothing to lose. And I would bet that you will continue because it's great. So do I ever lose motivation? Okay, so sometimes. Okay, so I live in a household of meat eaters, and I smell meat, and I see meat being eaten around me. Do I ever desire it? Well, I would be lying if I didn't say that once in a while I would think I would be envious of what's on someone else's plate, but not for long. It's just a fleeting, passing thing because I've been like eating it my whole life, right? So it's like a nostalgia thing, I guess. But I, um, uh, you know, I keep myself motivated. I remind myself, why did I do this in the first place? And there's so much content on the internet, so much content that will keep your inspiration topped up, you know. Um, and you know what? For a long time before I became vegan, I wanted to be vegan and then I wasn't vegan. So if you're watching this video, then you're wanting to be vegan or you're already vegan, right? And if not, then it's not your time yet. Okay, that's it from me, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.